What is CORS in RESTful APIs? Very important question and asked in many interviews. Let's explore it. The first very important thing to remember is that CORS is a security feature provided by the web browsers like Chrome, Edge, etc. And as per this security feature, suppose you are a user and you open this website interviewhappy.com. Now, from inside this website, you want to access the different pages or components of this same website like this. In this case, you will receive the data smoothly and without any problems. Okay. But, if you try to access the data of the different website like xyz.com, then by default, CORS policy of the browser will restrict and will not allow this. Okay, this is CORS, which stands for Cross Origin Resource Sharing, which means web pages from cross origin websites, meaning from different websites or domain, cannot share resources, meaning cannot share data. Okay. All right. So similar to this one case, we have three more cases where the CORS will not allow the sharing of the data. For example, in this second case, you want to get the response from a subdomain. Subdomain like API dot before interviewhappy.com. Okay, that is subdomain. In this case also, by default, CORS will not allow resource sharing. Third case is when the domain or website name is same, but you are requesting from HTTP, but the sender is HTTPS. Then also CORS will restrict data sharing. And the last case is if the port number is different, then also CORS will restrict. Remember, this is the default behavior of CORS restrictions. But yes, sometimes as a developer, we have to allow the data sharing between different domains, right? In those cases, we have to suppress and remove this CORS security in our API code, which I will show you in upcoming question. Finally, here I have written the simplest definition of CORS, which I already explained, but writing it here so that your last minute preparation just before the interviews will be very quick and fast. How to remove CORS restriction on RESTful API. To remove CORS restriction, we have to write some code in the REST API. Okay. First, we have to import the CORS middleware like this. Okay. And then we have to enable this CORS middleware for all the routes by using this app.use method. Here we are passing this CORS method as the parameter, and as a result, now any website with any domain name can access the data from your API. Okay. Now if you don't use this CORS, then website will not able to fetch the data from API by default. Okay. So in short, now we have removed the CORS restrictions for all the domains. Now, suppose you want to configure CORS, meaning you want to allow some domains and disallow some other domains. So for that, you can also configure the CORS policy like this. Here in the parameter of the CORS middleware, you can configure the domain website name for which CORS restrictions will be removed. Remember, you can mention here. So for example, this example.com website only can access the data from this API, but other website the CORS restrictions will be there. Okay. Then as usual, write your routing code and finally start the server. That's the complete implementation, and that's the answer for removing CORS restriction. And here is the one line answer. CORS restrictions can be removed by enabling the CORS middleware in application. That's it. What are serialization and deserialization? Every developer must know these concepts. Let me show you the example here. Suppose you have two REST APIs and you want to pass data from REST API 1 to REST API 2. For this, we can use serialization and deserialization concept, okay? First, inside REST API 1, we will convert the data object into the JSON format. And this processing of converting the object into any other format, JSON, bytes, etc., is called serialization. Then we will send this JSON over the network to the REST API 2. There we will convert this JSON back into the object, and this process is called deserialization. Okay, clear? Now you may ask why we are not directly passing the object also. The reason is, see, some APIs are created in Java, some in .NET, some in Node, different technologies, and every technology handle objects differently. Therefore, first we convert object to JSON, because JSON is common for every API, every technology. Okay, easy to understand actually. And then we send them. Great, that is the answer to this question. And these are the simplest and easy to remember definitions of serialization and deserialization, which can help you in the revision from the book later. What are the types of serialization? Very simple and short answer. There are mainly three types. Binary serialization. Here you convert data or objects to the binary or byte format. Then there is XML serialization, where you convert objects to XML format. And now the most popular one is the JSON serialization, where you convert the objects or data structures to JSON format basically. So that is the short and sweet answer to this question. How to serialize and deserialize in Node.js? So let's quickly see the code. See, here we have one object, and then we passing that object as an argument inside this json.string5 method. Okay, so this method as a result will return the converted JSON string, which you can see in the output here. And yes, now you know the answer. Serialize a JavaScript object into JSON format using the json.stringify method. Okay, similarly, here is the code for deserialization. Here we are passing the above JSON string inside the parts method of the JSON, and as a result we are getting an object that when we are printing in console, so like this will be the output. So the short answer is, deserializing a JSON string into a JavaScript object can be done by using json.parse method. Great, now you know what methods are used for serialization and deserialization in Node. Explain the concept of versioning in RESTful APIs. Yes, like we get new versions of mobile phones and softwares with the time, same is the case with the APIs also. With time, as per the new requirements, we create a new version like this 3 version of our REST APIs, and then now maintaining all these old and new version is called versioning. Now you might ask one question: why we are maintaining these old version 1 2 of these REST API? Why just we can dispose them or destroy them? See, suppose we created this version 3 latest of our API, and we did some changes here, okay, from version 2 API methods. But then maybe some of our API clients are not yet ready to accommodate those new changes of the version 3. Maybe they do not have the developers, budget, or for any other reason, okay? So in that case, if we maintain the previous version of the API, then client can keep using the previous version 1 and 2 of the API, and therefore the client application will not break because of the latest version changes in 3 version. So like this, the client applications can use the URLs based on their requirement, which version they want. For different version, different URLs can be there. Okay, now you clear, right? And here is the definition. Versioning in the RESTful APIs refers to the practice of maintaining multiple versions of an API to support backward compatibility. That's it. What is an API document? What are the popular documentation formats? Alright, so when we create our REST API, then maybe multiple Android, iOS, web-based web UI application will start consuming our API services. Okay, right? Now, in order to inform those clients about our API methods and about the kind of request and response structures which our API accept, we will create a document. Okay, and that document we will share with them now, so that they can easily make their UI applications by watching at that documents. They will be knowing that okay, that these are the methods. Okay, so for example, this is the example of a API document. Okay, now you can the UI team can understand, okay, these are the methods we have to create our UI application as per that. And the answer is, an API document describes the functionality, features, and usage of a REST API. For example, this is, as I said, a UI document, and you can easily understand the services. And the most popular documentation formats are Swagger, Open API also we call it, then RAML and API Blueprint. Great, that's the simple answer to this question. What is the typical structure of a REST API project in Node? So basically with this question, I will give you some idea about the various folders and files present in the Node REST API project. Okay, a very high level understanding. So suppose you want to create an e-commerce based REST API which has products and users inside it. Okay, just that. So for that, here will be the files and folder structure. See, we have the node modules folder where npm packages are installed, which we do not have to touch, right? Then our main focus is on the source folder, and here we have all the controllers. Controllers, as you know, are the files where you will have all your business logic like your get, post, put, delete methods. Okay, and for example, this all product related methods, or what we call the endpoints of your e-commerce application, will be in the controllers only. Then we have the models, which is the folder where you will have the data models, or you can say the properties related to products, and then the users also. Then routes folder will have the configuration for the different routing system in your application. Okay, so for example, all routes related to products are grouped and nested in the product routes file. And okay, so that's about routing. Then you have a folder called utils. Okay, so here you will be having the helper methods. Helper methods are methods which can be reused throughout your application. For example, an error related reusable method will be inside this error handling. So validation related methods will be inside this validation helper files. And these methods you can use and call and reuse in different parts of your application, right? The error methods. As I said, we call them helper methods also. Finally, here is your app.js, from where the request will enter into your application, and all middleware controllers and routes will be called from this file only. Okay, then we have the git ignore. This is the file that specified that which are the directories which has to be ignored by the version control, like node module. So meaning, if you do not want to submit any file to Git repository from your local development environment, then place that file name inside this file. Okay, because by default all the files will be submitted to the Git repository. All right, then there is a package.json file that contains the metadata about your project and its dependencies. Great, that is the whole and very to the point idea of all the point files in a very simple and basic REST API project. Finally, here is a very short description of all the files which I already explained. These simplest explanations can help you in your interview preparation from the book. Okay.